Yes, people, welcome back to the 1894 for a brand new Manchester City transfer video. Today we want to continue our conversations on Erling Haaland. It is an ever-unfolding story, the Erling Haaland pursuit. Two clubs currently in the race, as there has been for quite a while now. And then, of course, is ourselves and Real Madrid. Manchester City and Real Madrid go neck and neck for Erling Haaland. We have been confident, we've been unconfident, but right now I remain confident. Joe, before we get into these tweets, we have a couple of updates since we last spoke. How do you feel about the whole Erling Haaland saga right now? Because it feels a bit like it's dragging on, and I'm not sure we're near the end either, if I'm being totally honest.
Well, I mean, we're nowhere near the end because I seem to be hearing the same 4 or 5 things from about 10 different journalists now. It seems to have really stagnated, which I think it was only natural that this was going to happen, to be honest. I don't think it was anywhere near close to being done for, how confident you are and how confident you can be. Of course, this is probably the closest we've ever been to final, but we're still so far away. Like, we're still, at least in my opinion, a good 3 months off. Like, this isn't happening until the end of the season. Like, at least I don't think so anyway. I'd be shocked if it does. It's going to drag on and on and on, and we're just going to have to put up with all these updates coming out and kind of recycling things. We don't really get too much new, just sort of reinforcing, the facts, the things that we already know. But I mean, I'm quietly confident. I'm still wary in, the back of my mind of someone like Madrid just throwing everything they can, although legally they probably shouldn't be allowed. It wouldn't surprise me. But I mean, I'm fairly confident. I mean, every day there's nothing to go against what we've been told, that City are in this sort of pole position area. So, I'm still believing.
The word was, we didn't do a video on this piece, but the word was that Haaland had rejected some sort of a wage offer from City of in and around 500 grand a week. I'm not paying a huge amount of heed to that. That just says to me that City and Haaland are very much in negotiation and something is happening. Listen, I told you before on a video previously, and I still stand by it. I have my sources, 1 or 2, that I trust, to be fairly knowledgeable on the transfer or on the club or on the player. I'm not going to give any names away, but they've led me to believe that this deal is either done or going to happen for sure. So I still remain confident, but all we can do is report on the public news we get, and we've got 3 tweets we want to touch on here. Credit, as always, to City Extra for providing us with the live updates all the time. Ruben Uria via Gol España, so a Spanish source. In these big sagas, people, you always have to bear in mind where the source is coming from, because a Spanish source will probably have their affiliations with Real Madrid or their preferences, if you like, and an English source will be more clued into the City side, and then in Germany the Germans will have their more of the knowledge on Dortmund side of things probably. But listen, Ruben Uria says, commissions paid to Erling Haaland's father as well as his agent Mino Raiola in the event of a transfer this summer would be significantly lower than the speculated 50 million. That was a huge talking point, and it remains a huge talking point as to how much money Mino Raiola and Erling Haaland will be demanding should their player or their son go to a different club. We know that Raiola is a big money operator. He doesn't allow his players to move clubs unless he's going to get a hefty sum. We also know there's an agent's fee cap coming in very soon. So there will come a time where Raiola can't really demand as much as he would have in the past. And Raiola always has, or he has a huge amount of the world's best players. So he makes a lot of money off these deals, and it's something that he puts a lot of emphasis on. The next part here is Man City have the finances to undertake an operation in excess of €200 million for Erling Haaland, including release clause, commissions and salary. Man City believe Haaland would be a great leap in quality and the definitive signing to win the UCL. €200 million is the one they put down there, Joe. I think that would be in or around 160, 170 million pounds. How do you feel about that as a whole package for Haaland?
It sounds about right. It sounds about as if that's just the year one, all the fees that come into actually signing the player, plus the wages. Obviously, then you have to take into account the next years that we're actually going to have him, how many years we're going to have him for. I don't think anybody really knows at this point. It's up in the air as to whether, what the initial contract will be, whether he'll sign an extension. All of that is, further down the line. We don't really have to worry about that now. But, yeah, no, I mean, we always knew we'd be paying a hefty sum to Raiola and his dad. We always thought that that was going to happen. I'd imagine, I don't know how it is definitely going to work with this whole agent's fees cap. I don't know when that exactly kicks in. I'm not sure, but I mean, Raiola's going to want to cash in as many times as possible. He cashed in on Donnarumma last summer. He's got loads of clients. Pogba as well. He'll probably want to get him a move sorted fairly quickly to capitalise on that. So I imagine, he won't be a man for waiting around too long for this. But 200 million, if City really believe that this is the way forward, this is a guaranteed Champions League in the next 1, 2, 3 years, with him coming in, 200 million is not bad at all, considering that it'd be much higher if he didn't have the release clause. So, I mean, I know you say this a lot. It's not my money. I'm not really bothered about what we pay, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer, and I know there's a lot of people out there, City fans and rival fans will say, oh, we shouldn't be spending X amount. I'm just going to be real with you. I'm a football fan. I want to see the best players at the club. If the Sheikh wants to spend his money or the CFG want to spend their money, that's perfectly fine with me. And on the agent fee cap thing, I'm pretty sure Raiola and other top agents will find a way around that cap when the time comes, by maybe setting up an external company or something like that. They'll find loopholes, but that is going to be a process they'll have to deal with. Whether that's going to affect the Erling Haaland deal, I don't know. But we're going to move on to the final tweet that I want to talk about, or we want to talk about, and I think it's the biggest one here, the biggest talking point, which is, of course, Pep Guardiola is exercising his power of persuasion in an attempt to sign Erling Haaland. Not the first time he has been personally involved in signing. Cheeky Bergestein and Man City are trying to convince the player of a great sports project. We've seen plenty of reports now saying that Haaland is most interested in City's project, but you would imagine that a Pep extension is a huge part of his thought process, and we've seen reports saying that Pep will extend if Haaland comes, and Haaland will only come if Pep extends. So they're very much working in tandem, both of these deals. And this isn't the first time that this tweet says that we've seen Pep using his own personality and his own weight essentially to get a transfer over the line. We know he was massive in getting the Bernardo deal done back when that happened late in the transfer window. He was huge apparently in convincing Gabriel Jesus to join the club. Players want to play for Pep, and there is a certain impact it would have. Sorry, excuse me. It's a certain impact it would have if Pep actually rings you personally or goes to meet you personally and says, I want you to come to my club. And then Haaland will naturally say to him, I will come. I want to play for you. I like the project. Are you going to stay? Pep says yes. The job gets done. There's a massive, massive significance in Pep speaking directly either to the player or to his agent. So I think it's a very... I wouldn't say it's a tactic City like to use often, and I'd say they try to use this tactic. Pep tries to save this tactic for when there's a player that they really, really want and they feel it's going to be a bit more challenging than the average signing. Joe, this is a big move from Pep, and it's one I'm glad to see him having an influence on.
I'm very happy to see him doing this because he is going to play probably one of the biggest parts in this whole saga, because if you think on, his extension hinging on Haaland and Haaland coming, hinging on his extension, they both have to work together. They both have to come to an agreement. They both almost seemingly have to happen. Obviously, Pep comes first because, Haaland wants that confirmation. But again, there's no better manager right now in world football to play football under. There just isn't a better manager in world football currently, at least in my opinion anyway. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. He's the main... Haaland, we've had this with Haaland where the main thing for him is, the project. We've had this. It's not about the money. It's about the project. I don't really see there's a better project for us. But for him personally, obviously, he sees Madrid with, being a Galactico and, doing all this stuff that, Ronaldo and players before have done. So I think that Pep is a massive piece in this jigsaw. He needs to use his influence because I think when it comes to just sheer pulling power of us against Madrid, we get whitewashed. We just simply do not have the pulling power of a club like Madrid. But then you have to look elsewhere. Have we got a better squad? I'd say arguably yes. I'd say we do. Have we got a better manager? Yes, we do. So there's loads of things that come down in this, whole project talk. And Pep is one piece. And again, it's unusual to see managers personally contact players to come and say, sign for me, I want you. That is reassuring to know that Pep actually wants you to come and play under him. He desperately wants you to come in. And I think it could just, push it over the edge for Haaland, especially if Pep gets in there first and, contacts him first early on. I think, it's not going to harm the deal. If anything, it's just going to improve our chances.
Oh, I want to put it out there. If Pep rang me personally and said, I want you to come and play for me, I'd be getting giddy. I'd be getting excited because, like I said, there's a certain effect that Pep's influence on this deal could have, and that is, you know, no disrespect to any other managers out there, but say Dean Smith rings you and he says, "I want you to come and play for me." It's not the same with Pep Guardiola ringing and asking him to come and play, or asking you to come and play for him. So I'm glad to see Pep starting to throw his weight around in this deal, because, like you said, it is hard to compete with the pulling power of Real Madrid, but we have that, you know, trump card in Pep Guardiola, and it's important that we use it in these situations. So I'm very glad. Leave all your thoughts down below in the comments on Pep throwing his weight around, Pep having an influence in this deal. Could Pep be the final piece to the jigsaw that we need to get this deal done? Because there's obviously a lot of talking going on in the background, a lot we don't know about, and we're now getting a report that Pep is getting involved, so that is absolutely huge. Leave all your thoughts down below, and do us a favour, would you please, would you leave a like on the video before you click off? It helps us massively, and subscribe if you're new. We've just passed 2.1k. We're on the road to 2.5, sorry. I'm dying of a cough here. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you very soon for another video. Good night, God bless.